Welcome to the Warfare Parenting Podcast. I'm your host, Lane Lawson Craft. Join us here every other Monday. Now, let's get into today's podcast. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Warfare Parenting Podcast. I'm Lane Lawson Craft. I'm so excited. If you did not get the first episode of this series we're doing, you do not want to miss it. These are nuggets that all of us can use at any point in our lives. We are talking with Dr. Kathy Koch. She is written a book, and it is wonderful. Parent Differently, Raise Kids with Biblical Character That Changes Culture. Our first episode was all about character. What is character? Why does it matter? Today, we are going to talk about how are character and obedience connected. Again, Kathy is well-renowned. She's featured often on Focus on the Family. Kirk Cameron's movie featured her. She's reached thousands of people all throughout, I think 30 countries. She's just a speaker. I mean, everybody wants her. I laughed and told her we could spend the whole episode on her bio. Kathy is a doctor. Kathy, I am just so thankful for you penning all of this wisdom for all of us. And today is very important to me because how are character and obedience connected? Thank you for coming today.
Well, thank you again. I loved meeting you when we did. We had heard about each other and kind of followed each other, but it was so much fun to put eyeballs on you. And then for us to develop this friendship and for the respect that we have for each other's work, it's been delightful. I really... What you're doing matters, and that you would want me and this wisdom on your show means a lot to me. So thank you. I'm excited about today.
Right back at you. I'm so honored because, you really have just vast knowledge that we all can use. And I'm just going to start right here. How are character and obedience connected? Would you talk to us about that?
I would love to, because, the debate as an author is I want to write a book that's beneficial that people will buy. And I thought if I call it Improving Children's Obedience, it might fly off the shelf. And because that's the frustration, right, is when children are disobedient. And yet I couldn't write that book. I had to write a book on character because character is the foundation of everything, including obedience. As we talked about last episode, character forms your reputation. Character allows you to fulfill purpose. I believe character allows you to become who God intended for you to be when He chosen us up to make you you. Our character is the foundation of everything. It is heart-centered. So we become obedient, not because we know a rule and someone is watching and we don't want to be punished, but we do want to be rewarded. But character in our heart, wanting to be well and do well because it honors God. Wanting to be well and do well because we are that person. I write in the book that there's a difference between doing things and being someone. So I wrote this book, Lane, hoping that people would become grateful, even the reader. I think there will be parents, I don't know if you agree, but I think there will be parents who are going to be confronted with some reality here, because I do talk about being a role model. And it's hard to have righteous character in our culture. It's not easy to stand up, but we can be that bright light that changes culture because character trumps, and character is the foundation of obedience. Real quick, I can say one more thing. I can teach a child to be obedient, but they may not have godly character or biblical character. And they'll be obedient when they don't want to be punished, when they do want to be rewarded. They'll be obedient when someone's looking. That's kind of tradition. But character allows them to be well and do well, even when no one is looking. Even when the burden is heavy, because they know who they are and who they can be.
And that's so important. My personal measurement of character has always been, who am I when no one's looking?
Yes.
What do I do and say when the doors are closed, right? And so it is a heart issue, right, Kathy?
It is. And, and this is why you and I believe we have to parent long and strong. This is why we have to, as much as we can, be role models of righteous character, apologize, ask to be forgiven, recognize that we're imperfect, and all those kinds of things. But yeah, it's life. Character, it's life. And again, the other thing about obedience, which I'm going to say, I don't know if you were going to ask about this, but I think this is significant too. You know what kids have told me, Lane? If they strive to be obedient and they're not, they feel horrible. Like if they don't want to lie, but they lie. They just feel so bad. And they should. I mean, that's the effect of the disobedience, right? But when you teach the character and they're capable, I don't know if this is making sense. Again, they just have that feeling. They have that feeling of I'm okay. And that's what we need our kids to believe.
It's very important. So I love this. How can you use misbehavior, a great follow-up to this, to teach character? I have here, identify relevant character traits that would prevent misbehavior and teach those. So are you saying, like let's use the lie. Let's so we know our child has told us a lie and they feel terrible about it, Kathy. How could we help us use that as a teachable moment as far as, okay, yes, you were disobedient, but more it's this, it's a heart issue again. So how would you do this? How would you, how do you use misbehavior to teach character?
It's a great question. So the first thing I want to say is that if a child is caught lying, they're not necessarily a liar. You have to be very, very careful of not turning a verb into a noun, because as I teach in our ministry throughout, identity controls behavior. So if I call a child a liar, you're such a little liar. That child goes to bed, I'm a liar, wakes up, I'm a liar, goes to school or co-op, I'm a liar. So be very careful of that. Now, if they've lied consistently and you catch them, there is some truth that they have developed a habit of lying. But I would love for us to understand that at their core, they're capable of better than that. So you catch them in a lie, you ask yourself again, why? We talked in the last episode just a little bit about beliefs. Were they fearful? Were they prideful? And did they not want to be caught not knowing something? And so lying that they did well was the safer thing for them because they didn't want their dad's wrath or their mom's disappointed face. A lot of kids tell me they don't like looking at their mom when she's disappointed in them. So were they fearful? Were they prideful? Were they, in a hurry and they didn't think clearly? Did they not understand even maybe that it was a lie? Did they think that it was just not a complete truth? I mean, these are interesting discussions to have with kids. And I would look over time, Lane, like how often has it happened? If they're caught lying once and you're surprised, maybe you just let it go as having a bad day. We all have bad days, right? Let's just admit that we don't always make the best decisions each and every day.
Right.
And I don't want that one bad decision to torment me for a day. So maybe we look to see, is it becoming a habit? Now, we don't want to wait too long because then it will be a habit.
Right.
But do we wait to see? Do we have conversations with kids? I write later in the book about the benefit of looking for the pattern of the misbehavior to determine. It might be that they lie related to only one brother and they're in deep competition with a brother, and you need to figure that out. And you need to talk to both boys because the one that they're competing with is probably part of the problem as well. So it has to do with examining what's going on. I think the appendix in the back of the book will help. We can look at the long list of character qualities that could be engaged there. But yeah, it's significant. Look beyond the behavior to the heart.
Well, the next wonderful question I love are the 3 foundational traits that support character and obedience. And I put joy, gratitude, and self-efficacy. Could you just touch on those?
I would love to. And this is a huge part of the book. And I think readers will appreciate the details that are provided, but I'm happy to talk about it because we want obedience. I'm saying character is the efficient way to get at obedience. I'm saying that character will last longer. I think character is teachable. Obedience is rule following. It doesn't necessarily affect the heart. So I'm huge on obedience. So I'm huge on character so that obedience is possible, because again, that is what will change culture. So the research is so encouraging. 3 qualities result in a greater likelihood of first-time obedience, joy, not circumstantial happiness, which we can't create, which technology wants us to believe is the priority. Keep me happy all the time. But joy, which again is heart-centered, right? Joy is relationship. For the believer, joy is in Jesus, and we don't want to dishonor him in our choices. And then gratitude. And Lane, especially if people who are listening are born-again believers and Christ followers and Bible readers like you and I are, we have so much to be grateful for, right? The fact that God created us and Jesus sacrificed his life for us, and the Holy Spirit comes in as a guide, comforter, teacher, convictor, and we have relationships, and we get to worship God, and we get to become who he created us to be. And we have strengths that we can use to come alongside of our weaknesses. I mean, there's so much to be grateful for. And what we need to do with our children is teach them the blessing of gratitude, how it feels for us internally, how it feels for other people when we say we're thankful, not again circumstantial thankfulness, where if I don't write a thank you letter, grandma won't give me another gift, you know, but that our character is transformed. Because I will tell you, it changes our perspective when we look for opportunities to be joyful, look for opportunities to be grateful. And the third one blows me away. The third one's fascinating to me. It's self-efficacy. That's a word people might not even know. It simply means to be self-effective. It means that I believe I can accomplish what I've set out to do. So this is where hope comes in, right? Lane, this is where optimism has to enter into the way that we teach character and then we raise up our kids, so that they believe when we've asked them to be someone, we've asked them to be grateful, we've asked them to be optimistic, we've asked them to be generous, they believe they can be those things and do those things because of the teaching that we've provided. So self-efficacy, living in that optimism where, yeah, mommy, I'm going to be kind to grandma. I'm going to walk slowly so she doesn't get scared. She's going to fall and break her hip like her neighbor at the nursing home. So I'm going to be a good girl today, and I'm going to walk slow, and I'm going to be patient so grandma knows I love her and I'm understanding. Like, that's self-efficacy. I can do what I'm supposed to do. Changes everything. And Lane, because of the sin nature, no one has self-efficacy who hasn't been taught to be who they're supposed to be, because the sin nature and the liar is loud. It's such a mess.
Such a mess. And that's why this book is just so powerful, Kathy. I just love it. I have here, I love this. How can you move children through beliefs about activities? Have to, want to, will do, did do, I mean, I love this. I really caught myself in a season just recently where I would say, I have to do this, right? Yeah. I have to do this. But when I changed it to, I want to do this, because I did want to. Do you understand what I'm saying? But when you have to, it's very bondage. It's not a great feeling. So I'd love to just talk through that, if you don't mind, just briefly.
Bondage. Oh, man, sister, that's powerful.
Well, you know what I'm saying? I have to do this, but we really want to, but, it's crazy. But I love this.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that a lot. Yeah. And let me just speak to the moms and dads who are listening. If we I have to do the laundry, and I have to do the laundry again, well, I get to do laundry. I have a family, and we have enough money to have clothes on our back. So moving from, I have to I get to, is, if we only go that far, it changes so much, right? And I'm not saying that that's a simple shift, but I'm saying it's important. I have to go to the grocery store again, or I have to, order groceries again. Well, I get to order groceries because I have people to serve and feed, and we have money in the bank that allows me to do so. And then, I want to order groceries, or I want to clean my house, or I want to go to church, moving from the I have to do I get to the I want to, but not stopping there too. Kids want to be good. There's a lot of kids who tell me, I want to be good, Dr. Kathy. I don't want to whine. I don't want to complain all the time. So they've moved to the I want to be respectful. I want to argue less, but we also can't stop at the want to. We have to move to I will stop arguing. The matter of the will, which again is the heart, which is why character must be what we emphasize, because it will transform the heart. And then after, I will, then it's I did not argue. Mommy, did you notice? I didn't argue. I didn't have a suggestion that was better than yours. I did what you asked me to do. Mommy, are you happy? And it's okay to let the kids notice they've been good. That's not prideful. They're looking for that optimism and that hope because they're trying to love you well. And then what happens, Lane, which is so significant, is now we become, I am obedient.
Yes.
I have the kind of character that allows me to not argue with my mom. So we move from the, I have to be obedient again, to I am obedient. Very powerful. And what does that take? Again, long and strong parenting, right? It takes observation and commitment and the belief that I can be powerful in my kid's life.
And, it also takes us back to the joy, the gratitude, and the self-efficacy. I mean, when you know who you are and that it's a win-win. I mean, it's just this whole modeling is just a win-win. I mean, they're grateful and they're joyful and and they have hope, that they can do and be. And it's just wonderful, isn't it?
Well, I think so. And I think I try to establish the foundation for the person who's tried to teach character. And I really respect many people have tried, and some have been very successful. To God be the glory. Others have wanted to. They're at that I want to, but they don't know how, or they haven't been empowered or successful because, again, kids are kids and it's just awkward and stressful at times. And so I pray that, again, there's the insight they need to move to the success that you and I want them to have. And that, your heart and my heart would be, I don't want to tell anybody what to do and make them feel guilty for not being able to do it. I want to empower them to be successful. And that's where I hope the book takes people.
Well, I'm going to ask this last question, and it's a tough one. So, because this is very real in most families, how does this sequence apply to chores and tasks? When we were going back to I have to and all that, from complaining to willingness, I think today there is kind of a culture where kids do complain and they aren't willing, but again, because we know what's against them. Help us today, if you would, if we've got a kid that, is really stuck in this, what can we do? What's something we could lead today with?
I appreciate that. Yeah, I do write in the book about chores because I believe chores are really important. Responsibility at home allows them to feel important in the family unit. And they are important in the family unit. And mom and dad do these things, and you will do these things to be a blessing to your mom and dad and to your siblings. And so I think choosing appropriate tasks is really important. And I think giving kids the why. A lot of kids have said to me, why should I make my bed? I just get back in it at night. Does it really matter? And frankly, I think that's a legit question. And I would say to any parent listening, choose your battles. One of the jokes I say is, clean your room. And what in the heck does that mean? You say to a kid, go clean your room. And they walk in and they're standing there looking at, just a mess. The bed's unkempt. The toys are on the floor. There's nothing on the dresser that belongs on the dresser. There's some clothes not hung up. That's like overwhelming. I would want to walk out.
Right.
And as an adult, I can walk out and I can decide to do it later or not at all. But a kid just being told, go clean your room is feeling overwhelmed in that. So one of the things that we do is we break it down, go take care of everything on the floor, put everything on the floor where it belongs, and then let me inspect. And then what do you want to do next? The closet, the dresser, or the bed? And give the kids some choice. Now, if they debate and argue, then they've lost the privilege of choice. But if they can handle choice, often that will motivate them. So one of the things I've sometimes taught parents is that the floor has to be clean enough that in the middle of the night, in the dark, I can walk from the door to your bed and to your head to make sure you're alive. So no Legos, no train sets in the way. But that's as clean as it needs to be. Now, if you're going to have a friend over on Saturday morning, then it's clean enough for friends. And that's a different standard of cleanliness. And I think these are the kinds of things that we can teach. And I address that a bit. And again, what I think happens, Lane, I hope this is what happens. When a child has biblical character, they will want to do what they're told. They will question less. They will submit more easily and readily. They will believe the parent has the child's best interest at heart. And I think there's less of a pushback and less of a debate.
That is so good, Kathy. I'm telling you, this is just awesome. Again, the book, Parent Differently, Raise Kids with Biblical Character That Changes Culture. Such important knowledge and wisdom we must have. Kathy, again, where can we find you? Where can we get the book and find out more about all that you do?
Thank you so much, Lane. Our website is celebratekids.com. And of course, we have a shopping cart like everyone else. And we are on Instagram and Facebook. And my books are available at the common, internet-based, web-based places. You're welcome to purchase them there. We are a ministry, so if you purchase from us, we benefit from that. But they're also on Audible. This book will be on Audible, I think, very soon. I'm not sure immediately, but very soon. Yeah, and then like you've said, we would encourage them to buy one for a friend and review it on social media sites and perhaps lead a small group. There are questions at the end of each chapter, and I think it would be a good book for a mom's group or for an adult parenting class at a church, perhaps.
Absolutely. And again, tell them the website because I really want y'all to buy the book there because it does help the ministry continue the wonderful work that they do. What is the website?
Thank you, Elaine. CelebrateKids.com.
Thank you. Again, Kathy, thank you for your time. It's amazing. And we will see you on the next episode. Thank you.
I'm excited. Thanks, Elaine.
Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Warfare Parenting. I hope you found some encouragement or helpful info today to help you on your journey. If you have a specific topic you'd like for me to talk about or a guest you'd like for me to have on the show, please feel free to send me a message on Instagram or Facebook. Listen, I love connecting with you, and so I've made it really easy for us to stay connected. Text Hi Lane to 55444. That's HILAINE to 55444. Also, be sure to follow the podcast so you never miss an episode, and leave me a rate and review. I would be so grateful. I'll see you next week.